I couldn't figure out what the problem was, but somehow me pushing all the different buttons at different times eventually solved the problem. So,
Well, yeah, that's computers for you right there. Just push buttons, reset it,
computers,
you'll figure
oh,
it out.
computers, my
Computers.
computers.
Welcome to the future.
Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. It's Hey Watching, yeah.
Welcoming to Hate Watching on the broadcast blogfestosphere, webosphere. Welcome to.
This is a hot start, Dan. I'm excited.
I don't think if I said the name. Did I say the name of the show? Welcome to Hate Watching.
You haven't said a single real word since we started.
Get used to it. Buckle up. Fake words coming to you via the Ansible.
Yeah.
This is Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I happen to be Dan.
I happen to be Tony.
Continues to be Tony constantly.
Almost every day of my life.
This is the show where we watch movies from 2013 and 2014. And are beginning to putting up a framework that these might be the 2 worst years of all movie making.
In movie history, they could be the worst years ever. Beautiful.
We're making like a pitch for 2012 to 14 as this very special period where
maybe the Mayans were right, Dan. 2012, it all ended.
There it is. That's the Mayans. God damn it, Tony! You got historical reference. What's going on? This is incredible.
Yeah, baby.
It's like he's in the zone.
I'm all fired up today. Here we go.
So each week we go to our separate man caves, watch a movie, and then we come back to report on said movie and figure out who effed that movie up so hard.
Who dropped that ball? Who was it?
And this week is Tony's pick.
Hello.
That's why he went for a drink as soon as he knew I was going to say it's Tony's pick.
Oh boy,
drinking water,
So this week, let's take a journey in the life of Tony real quickly.
Wow, we're not even getting to the movie. We're starting with a journey.
We'll start with my childhood. I was a lonely child. No, I read this book when I was in middle school, I think, which is a tough time for anybody. You know, like those are not always great years. Some people skate by just fine. Fat people generally do not. Those are usually a tumultuous time. And this book was like my Bible, right? It's Ender's Game, if anyone's wondering. And if you haven't read it, it's this wonderful book about a young prodigy who is bullied and hated, and he finds a way to not only connect to his peers but lead them. It's very interesting. It's not a sci-fi epic. Let's just get that groundwork out right now. That's not what it's about. It's about humanity. That's what this book is about at its core. It's about humanity. And so, as a young kid who's a little bit different, you resonate with it and you attach to it, and you may put things on it that maybe are not necessarily in the text, but they mean something to you. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. So I saw this movie. This is a long intro. I apologize. I saw this movie when it came out, opening night back in 2013, the greatest year of our Lord. And I hated it. I was distraught. I was beside myself. I was so angry. So when we were doing adaptations, I was like, you know what? Let's take another look at it. Now that I've had some distance, let's take another look at it. And the great news is that I hate it even more today than I did the first time, because there were things in the first time where I think I was defending it. I was like, you know what? But yes, they messed everything up. Every single thing is wrong. And now there's no buts for me today. This is the worst adaptation of a novel in the history of the world, and I'm ready to burn it to the ground.
Let's take a trip back to the history of Dan Goodsell.
Ah, yes, Dan.
I probably read this book in my, what year did it come out? 84? 86?
Mid-80s, yes.
Mid-80s.
Yeah, for sure.
I probably read it in my 20s. It had been out. I think the other books were out too. So maybe, I might have read it at the end of the 80s. I thought it was kind of fun little book. It's about this kid who goes and does all this battle training and is really smart at it. And then he goes and keeps doing it. Then at the end, you get the flip and it's like, oh my God, you were really
So
killing the aliens. Can I do my thing? You
no,
can get angry
okay,
all
all
you
right.
want.
All right, I'll get angry. I'm going to take a pause. Finish it.
So
Finish your
at the
history.
end, we learned that they manipulated the kid, and he was really fighting the battles the whole time and didn't know he was fighting the battles. And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of clever." That it caught me because I'm almost always caught by everything because I'm really dense when I watch shows. I'd sit there ask my wife questions because I miss everything. Really terrible at everything like that. So
You're adorable.
so I missed it, and then you're like, oh, that's a pretty terrible betrayal of this kid, and it sort of talks how the military industrial complex is willing to throw away their things. We get back to the whole, is it worth one life? Save Spock or save the universe? There's some of that going on in there, but I thought it was a clever little book. Then I saw this movie when it came out, and I was like, okay, that's fair assessment of the book because that's
Oh,
what the book is
fuck.
about. And so then when I watched this movie again,
Oh, God.
my big issue is with Orson Scott Card and just sort of his psychopathic view of the world. That I think this book is kind of a psychopathic view of the world.
Is
Um,
it?
oh
Or
yeah, that's what
is
I think.
that kind of the world? Okay. Finish.
So
Sorry.
that's okay. You can start. I just was so
Okay.
I sort of thought that this is a sort of weird psychopathic view of the world. And, this kid is a bit of a psychopath, and I'm sure if you went back and read the book, you'd see that too. I mean, he's not a good person.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, so many things to unpack in that diatribe, Dan. First of all, so you haven't read it since then, correct?
No, I read it one time.
Okay, so let's just think about that for a second. That your recollection of reading something 40 years ago, maybe,
Sure,
give or
40 years ago.
take,
No, well, yeah,
is
30 years
just
ago.
as accurate as the writing of this movie. I firmly, because that's not what the book is about. That is the plot points of the
Yes, a lot
book,
of the book. Yeah.
but that is not what the book is about. The book is about these grown-ups tearing away at Ender. They're stripping him of this humanity with isolation and these games because they are creating a weapon. And
Yeah.
yes, it is not about him destroying these aliens. Yes, that happens. That is not the point of the book. In the book, that is literally like the last 4 pages of the book.
Sure.
Give or take, because that's not what it's about. That's what they made this movie about. They're like, oh, that's the interesting thing of this book. Wrong. Incorrect. Yes, it's a cool flip that you don't see coming and you're like, oh shit, that just rocked my world, but they don't deal with it. Neither. Okay, so so yeah, my whole point is the person who wrote this movie probably read it the same decade that you did, and then never again. What is his name? Gavin Fuckhead, is that his name?
He worked directly with Orson Scott Card.
First of all, Orson Scott Card is insane, I'm pretty sure. I don't think he knows anything anymore. Also, his writing, listen, I'm not here to cast stones at people.
Oh, is he a terrible writer?
Oh my God, Dan, this book is a fluke. Ender's Game, phenomenal. Speaker for the Dead is good. It's interesting.
I remember being pretty interesting.
Everything else is fucking trash, except for the Shadow series, which follows Bean. Also very good. The only thing he actually, I think, understands is this mentality of the war games. Everything else he kind of gets totally wrong, and his writing style changes. Like you can see it changing as he's going along. Like he's losing his grasp on his vocabulary and his mind. It's very strange, but don't read the rest of the books. If anyone's out there, just read Ender's Game and then the Shadow series. That's all you really need. But what's interesting is that Orson Scott Card originally said no. They've been trying to adapt it for a long time, and he always said no because he's like, they're just going to end up turning it into like a teen drama with a love interest. Neither of those things are in the book. both of those things are in this fucking movie. And I was like, what is happening right now?
So he wasn't into the girl in the book?
No, him and Petra, I have no deeper
Chemistry.
feelings than very good friends. I mean, they are very good friends, but they are not lovers.
Well, they weren't lovers in this. Did they
I
kiss in
mean,
it? Did they
but
get?
they
Did they?
were.
Was there a
They
kiss in this?
No, but
No.
there's tension. You know what I mean?
Is
There's
there?
tension. Yes, there is. It's there.
Well, we'll talk about that because that's one of the things I found super interesting about the movie is that, um, and we'll get to it. Yeah, well, let's just start. You know,
Okay, we
we can
can try.
start because
Let me say that I'm
sure.
going to do my absolute best not to continually compare the book to the movie.
Well, you can
I'm
because
going to try to
that's
keep it to a
relevant.
minimal. It's not relevant to the point because they're so different and they got literally every aspect of the book and characters wrong. So I'm going to try to focus mostly on what I think is wrong with the movie as a movie.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
that's
every
fair.
once in a while when it's so egregious that I
Sure.
want to burn this place to the ground, I will bring up why it's so wrong.
So we start with this whole sort of Ender Wiggin quote where he's all like,
Oh my
"You
god.
got to understand. Wait, to understand your enemy, you have to love your enemy," which is
That's
like
close.
this
Yeah.
super weird pitch that is never played out in the movie at
In the
all, not
movie,
even
correct.
close.
No, because they get everything wrong. So let's just oh
I
god, I
mean,
don't
is there
even
something in the book? Is there
so
something in the
much.
book where
Yes.
where this love comes into?
It's
Explain to me
literally the
what the
most
book does about
important
love.
part of why he wins the war. So to begin, it's the whole book. That's the central thesis of the book, Dan, is the
Okay.
humanity that it takes to destroy an enemy is the whole thing. Like the love you feel for your enemy is the only way to fully understand them, and once you understand them, you can destroy them completely. So,
See,
oh, yes,
I would posit. I mean, you're not that you're necessarily going to disagree that basically the movie tells us that the only way to win is to be a complete psychopath and not care about losses and
correct,
not care about anything.
100%. Yes,
That's why this
that
whole
is
love thing I didn't understand. I was
that
like,
is a great lesson that the movie does teach you. Yes.
they've taught this kid. Well, actually, and that was the other thing is I remember in the book, now that you talk about it, is yeah, they isolated him. They fucked with
Mhm.
him. They just played games with him constantly to screw him
Correct.
up and make him a psychopath.
Yes.
And it still feels like at the end he is that psychopath and he does the psychopath move, which is
Yep.
to blast the planet.
Yep,
So
because we miss all of the character development in between. We just hit plot points. It's like somebody
yeah,
read an outline of what happens in the book and was like, I don't care about how we get to those points. Let's just do those points and people will get it.
and I think more importantly in the movie they push him, but in the end the thing we understand is that he has that psychopath in him. It's not that they're making him into this psychopath. He is a psychopath. And all they have to do is just give him a couple
Sort of.
gentle pushes.
So, okay. So
Is he a
let's talk.
psychopath in the book?
Oh boy. I mean, that's a hard question to answer, and that's why it's interesting. So
Okay.
let's talk about his family, which we barely get to see because it's
Yeah.
important to the book. His brother and sister are just as important in the book as he is, and they're just not in this movie at all, which is hard. It's hard to then understand your character if you don't actually see any of his character development. But so his brother and his sister both are older. Peter's the oldest brother. Valentine is the middle. Ender's the youngest. He's a third. Blah blah blah. We can get to that later. Peter was probably the most promising student that they'd ever seen, but he's a psychopath.
Yeah,
So they're like,
we got that in the movie.
right. So they're like, you can't. We got to ice him out or
Yeah.
kick him out because he's too crazy. Valentine failed for the other reason. She's too full of
Compassionate.
empathy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ender is
In
both
the
of
middle.
them.
Got it.
He
Yeah.
has both sides of him, and the reason why the whole reason why they have to lie to him in the end is because if he knew that he was fighting the aliens, he would never do it.
Sure.
And that is so very important.
Yeah.
Like the fact that if he had the knowledge that this was real, he never would have done it. But because he thinks it's fake, he's like, "Fuck it, I can do whatever I want." And that's where the little psychopath comes out. And it's like, if I knew that I was killing people, I never would do it. But since it's fake, I can do this. And that's the mind fuck of like, whoa.
And that's why this movie, I mean, jumping ahead to the end, that's why this movie doesn't land. It's because
Well, yeah,
they wanted to show giant space battles, and
yeah,
everyone in the audience knew that they were real space battles, and those kids all would have known they were real space battles because they
for
don't even
sure.
there's
In
there's
this,
there's no even conceit of how
yep,
they set them up. I mean, it's like they are such a fake out. I mean,
yeah,
not a fake. They're such not a fake out. You're like, yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to destroy the world. You know it. We know it. Everyone on the
Yep.
stage knows it. Everyone there knows it.
Which is why in the movie he feels like a psychopath, because like we all know, and he
Yeah,
has to know
yeah,
whether he's saying he knows or not. He fucking knows, and he's like, I'm gonna destroy them all.
yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Yeah.
So the movie completely fails on, and that's why at the end you don't feel, the only time you kind of felt anything was when he had his success in the battle
Yep.
room, which was the battle room stuff was fun, and we could have used a lot more
Yes.
of that. But when they get out
Just
into
yeah.
space, you just sort of stop caring.
Yep. 100%. There's so little character in this movie. You don't care for anybody.
No,
Except for
you don't.
maybe Ben Kingsley, because he's the only person, trying. I would argue.
He tries. So we learned that 50 years ago, this alien race, the Formix, which are just big ants, attacked us and killed a bunch of people, and then we blew up their ship. And now we got to get ready in case they attack again.
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
we've taken the world's smartest children, we brought them up on video games,
Vidget Games.
and we have Ender. I'm one of those. He's one. You said that about my brother. Then we sort of see him at this battle school, and he beats this other kid, and he does this sort of lame, "Oh, good game. We can be friends now." He's
Yeah.
he's supposed to be a leader, but he's always feels very disingenuous.
Yeah, I don't excuse me, sorry. I don't know if this is Butterfly. What's his name?
Asa
Ace.
Butterfield,
Yeah,
Butter
Butterfield. I don't know if this is his
Butterwipe.
fault
Yeah,
or the director's fault, but Ender never comes across as a human being in this movie to me. He's always like disassociated to his own
oh,
feelings.
sure.
And I don't know if that's the acting, and or the script. Maybe it's all of it put together. I don't know. But he never feels like a genuine human being. So like when this kid gets annoyed with him, I'm like, yeah, I'd be annoyed with him too. He's just fucking with him.
Yeah.
He like and it's I don't know. It's weird. There's a general misunderstanding of all the characters. I'll just say
Yeah,
that, and it starts right away.
when he manipulates people, it's written so that they kind of have to go with the manipulation or kill him.
Yeah,
And so they sort
yeah,
of go with the manipulation until they don't have to, and then they try to kill him.
yep, yep. That's
So
exactly right.
other than like a couple little things where he throws one of the weaker characters a bone, he doesn't ever really instill a lot of confidence in any of the more structurally powerful characters.
Correct. Yes. But he
Uh,
continually gets promoted for no reason from the movie. But
yeah,
that's fine.
and that's another thing they do in the movie is the commander, which Harrison Ford's like the sort of command guy, and then Viola
Raph.
Davis is sort of the other person who's like
Yeah.
sort of tries to protect him, and then she disappears. She's sort of
Yeah.
written
It
out of the movie
doesn't make any
halfway.
sense. That whole dichotomy. It's fine.
But basically, the inference is that they're looking at what he's doing and seeing that he's the best of everybody, as opposed to us. So basically, we're not even being shown him doing the best stuff, except in a couple
Correct.
very small instances. Instead, we're by their praise, they're inferring that he's the best at
Yes. They
everything.
they tell us that he's the best. They never show us that he's the best. And which is so you never believe it. I don't like, at least I don't. I'm never like, oh, I see this kid is brilliant. He's not. he fails upwards as far as I can tell. I mean, all they show is him like murdering people, and they're like, well, that's pretty cool. Let's bring him up to the older kids. So
So
dumb.
we set up that he's a genius, but he's not a leader, and so we throw him out of school,
Mhm.
and then the bullies are there. Oh no, we don't throw him. Yeah, we sort of throw him out of school, and then the bullies come in there, and then he just beats the shit out of the bully like a psychopath.
Yes, and that is key here, Dan, because he does. He grabs a fucking statue from the desk and just wails on this kid.
Oh, it
And he
kicks him.
doesn't stop. He's fighting with anger and like rage. That is not Ender. Hashtag
Oh,
not my Ender. He does not he does not fight with emotions. That's not his thing. He's calculating, he's smart. He's the only reason he's fighting is to stop. I mean, they say this line later when he's talking to Graf. The only reason he fights is to stop the future fights, which is important.
but he loses control.
He
He's not in
completely
control.
loses control. No, he's rage-fueled eyes. He's just fucking hammering this kid. It's insane. It's terrifying. He's Peter. He's
He is
straight up
Peter.
Peter. It's wrong. It's all wrong. I hate this movie.
So then he gets kicked out. Harrison Ford loves it. He goes back home.
Because
He's
in
like,
this movie, Harrison Ford is also a psychopath. He's
well,
he's attracted to this danger.
yes, but I mean, that's what's sort of scary about this is they like teach this book in like military school and shit.
Sure.
And it's sort of like a problem because if you look at it from the one hand, it's like all the big powerful people are there to manipulate you,
Mhm.
to make you do what they want, whether or not it's good or bad. And then at the end,
Yeah.
I don't know if all the stuff where he saves the queen is in the Ender's Game or if that starts in the
Not
second book.
well. I mean, he doesn't ever see a queen. He finds an egg. It's
So he
God.
does
It's so beautiful.
find the egg at the end of the first book.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Tony's like, I would love to have that egg and I would
No,
take it
it's
around the
it's just a
universe.
beautiful moment.
Oh, was it beautiful?
It's hard to just we'd
Oh.
have to like talk about it. But they are trying to communicate the buggers. They're trying to learn how to communicate to the humans because there's that language barrier, which is why we're still fighting. Like they came I'm just spoiler alert for the books, guys. You're going to learn everything about the books in this podcast, apparently. But the whole point of the aliens is they did not know we were an intelligent race. They came and they're like, oh shit, these are intelligent beings, and they don't come back because they're like, sorry, we didn't know this world was inhabited by people. We will not come back. Humans wait 50 years with no retaliation just so they can build up enough army to go fucking annihilate another race. It is crazy. So I understand what you mean by like psychopath in the books. I get it. Human race is terrible, and I think we can all agree with that. I feel like it's an accurate depiction.
And once again, there you have a very, it's like I understand the military sort of teaching this, but once again, good God, this is, I mean, you're sort of pulling back the curtain and showing what the human race really is, which is horrible.
100%, but it's true.
It's
Anyhow,
completely true.
So the bugs, in trying to learn to communicate, they infiltrate Ender's dreams and they build him a real live recreation of the game that he plays throughout, the giant game, if you remember that. So when he gets to the Buggers Island, I feel bad that I'm calling Buggers. It's technically a slur. The Formix, when he gets to the Formix homeworld. I know.
How are they going to survive?
They're not. That's the whole point. He sees this like thing and he's like, oh my God, they're trying to talk to me. And in it, he finds an egg and he can communicate with the queen inside. And she's like, we forgive you. We can live in peace. Please help us, basically. And it's beautiful.
So I get all that.
Okay.
In the movie, he plays a video game on an iPad.
Yeah.
And in the book, they just get in his dreams.
Yes, they're basically they're
slowly
learning to telepathically communicate with him, essentially.
So it's completely absurd that they make them communicate with him through the game.
Correct. It doesn't
That
make any
makes
fucking
no
sense at all.
sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, not at all. No,
I was
it's
trying to
absurd.
figure that out at the end. I was like, "What? I don't understand. Why you just
There's a
communicated in his dreams? Dreams,
yeah,
pretty
there's a
straightforward thing."
yeah, you would think. There's a bunch of decisions that they made for this movie that I'm like, how did you feel like this made it better?
Yeah, doesn't make any
Because it
sense.
doesn't. It makes it make way less sense.
I mean, if he was
Anyhow.
having dreams about the Formix every night,
Mhm.
just skip this whole stupid game, set up these whole dreams, and it could be about them communicating. Whatever, stupid. He fights with Peter. I should never have been bored. Maybe born. I wrote
I
bored.
think it's probably born. Yeah.
Don't be ashamed. Why keep kicking? I wanted to win all the fights. Tactical asshole. I don't know what all that means.
I
Uh,
mean, it's a good little summation of what happened at home. Yeah.
then he goes to battle school. It's what I was born for.
Oh, that bothers Dan. This is one of those choices that I don't understand. That
Yeah.
conversation with him and Graf, where he's like, yes, I'll go to battle school with you. It's what I was born for. That kind of happens in the book, except for Graf is like, no, it's not what you're born for. You have to want to do this. Like, you're not doing it out of obligation,
Oh.
Ender. If you want to do it, we want to have you. If not, then you should stay here and live the rest of your life. Because if you come out of obligation, you're never going to make it through. You have to want this. It's a
And
very
basically, in the movie, it's like he's like, "You're our only hope."
yeah, like yep. Which does happen
They,
later in the book once they get so far
yeah,
down this pathway where it's like, we've invested 6 years in you and we're literally at the home base. You are our only hope. I don't know.
yeah. In this movie, he's like the savior from literally minute one. It's like, dude, it's all on you.
And
So we get in the
which
ship.
sucks because he never earns it then. Like, he never earns that respect quote unquote that they
No,
like bestow
no,
upon him, and he has to.
and we
Otherwise
we
we
see
don't
that later.
care. We just don't care about him, and that's troubling because you should really care about Ender. I care deeply.
Look at Tony still caring. It's beautiful.
After all these years, Ender, you and me, buddy.
So we go up in 0G. We meet a bunch of the kids, including Bean, who, like the Bean kid, I remember being like the character that I sort of was drawn to in the books.
That actually makes a ton of sense, Dan.
And this kid didn't make any sense to me in
Well,
the whole
because he's
movie.
not even supposed to be here yet. Bean doesn't come in till halfway through battle school, and he's the new Ender, essentially. He's like, if he would basically be the backup to if Ender fails, it's Bean. And so
Which
then
makes
Ender,
so much more sense.
and it's so beautiful, Ender starts treating Bean like they treated him. And he goes through this existential crisis of like, why am I doing this? I hated it so much. Why am I doing it to him? It's so great. This book is so good. This movie's so fucking dumb. It's so flat. How can you take such rich text and just strip it of its humanity, Dan? Anyhow, Bean shouldn't be in the movie yet. That's all I'm saying. They're not the same age. It makes no sense.
So we're up at the space station. We got to isolate him. We meet Sergeant Dapp, who like kind of
Oh my God,
gives Ender like crap for like a little while, and then at a certain point he starts saluting Ender like he's a god.
For God,
No reason.
my God, I
No
hate
reason.
this. It doesn't make, and this is strictly movie. Forget the book because this is a horrible representation of Dapp from the book. So different, but in the movie, it doesn't make any sense. He's like, it's like they wanted to condense the entire storyline of An Officer and a Gentleman into 6 minutes of this movie, where he's
if that.
You're never gonna make it. I got no place else to go. I love you, son. What is happening right now? It's so bizarre.
I mean, literally, this guy has like 3 scenes. The first scene is him chewing him out. The second scene is Ender doing something to get his respect, and then after that, he's like, "I respect you more than anyone that's ever stepped on this space station." And you're kind of like,
I know.
Okay,
It's
I
so
suppose.
bizarre. No, I don't suppose, Dan. Doesn't make any sense.
So we get the battle suits. We do some 0G. We learn about they have like these guns that freeze you. If you hit in the chest, you're frozen completely. If you hit in the limb, you're frozen. Don't ever say what happens if you get hit in the head.
Technically, what happens is the suit closes. You can't talk anymore. It squeezes on your jaw.
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't talk. You have to get unfrozen.
Why didn't they? Why
Dan,
didn't they
they
tell us
don't do a
that?
lot of stuff that's
It's
cool.
so stupid.
I mean, visually the battle room I thought was cool. And when they first open up those doors, I was
Super
like,
cool.
oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But then they kind of don't do anything cool in the room much.
Well, they do.
Like
They do. They do one battle,
one,
one training sequence, one
right.
battle. That's
As
it. So that's all
opposed,
they have time for.
I guess, because you spend all the time on the wrong stuff. The battle room is where Ender like finds himself and becomes Ender. And he gains friends, he loses friends, they pit friends against each other. I mean, Petra is supposed to hate him for a while because he embarrassed her because he became the youngest general, destroyed her army. I don't know, there's just a lot of stuff that we can't get to.
Petra had an army?
Yes, dude. She was the leader of an army at one point.
See, okay, that's terrible. Okay, so he can't talk to Valentine. Who cares?
I'll tell you who cares. I care, Dan, because he's writing her letters throughout the whole movie. That's not a thing. Doesn't happen. They have no communication. None whatsoever.
Huh.
Yeah, she writes to him, but he never receives the letter because he's in isolation. And I mean, so much to talk about, but the whole him and Valentine's relationship is totally fucked in this movie.
So he starts to kill the giant game. Basically, if you follow the rules, you lose. If you do violence, you win. Okay.
Again, that's the psychopath coming. That's wrong. That's the wrong lesson that they're teaching from that game.
It's
from the book. I mean, it's different from the book. That's not the lesson.
Sure. But the lesson in the movie is
in this movie, that is the lesson. Just kill.
And so his whole how he learned to love, we never learned how he could have learned any of that because no one's teaching him that. Yeah.
In the movie, he doesn't actually say that line. Did you notice that?
Well, it's written.
It's written at the beginning that it's an Ender Wiggin quote. In the movie, Valentine says the fucking line. How do you do that in your own movie? You quote him in the beginning and then you give that line to somebody else? He never said it. In this universe, he never said it. Where does that quote come from, you jackasses?
Well, he's a plagiarist. Duh. He's a psychopath and a plagiarist.
You're right. It's that ego of his. Unbelievable.
So they send him to the winningest team, and the winningest team is run by a guy named either Bonzo or Bonesaw. I don't know which.
Hold on. It's Bonzo. Bonzo. He's Spanish. But the movie can't decide on how to pronounce his fucking name. And that drove me crazy.
I like Bonesaw, but he's more of a Bonzo.
Bonesaw is ready. Remember that from Spider-Man?
Sure. I don't know what you're talking about. So, Bonzo, another psychopath.
Yes, straight up.
He's like, Ender's bigger than him, and this guy acts like he can kill. It's like, why are you making him a little weird short guy? Give him a little something, but you're like
super bizarre. The power dynamic between them is so wrong and so confused. He's like a whole head taller than him. And he's skinny. Like the guy that got Bonesaw he's not like a beefy short dude. He's like a skinny little Napoleon guy.
He's got a little muscle on him, but once again, we're not seeing, he's a psychopath. He just screams at everybody and we don't see any reason why he's the leader of the best team.
Well, correct. I mean, you should. And also like his fallacy is Spanish pride. I don't know. Pride. But
fallacy? You mean his weakness?
Yeah. What is his ultimate downfall?
His character flaw is pride.
Yeah. Pride. Yeah, one of the 7 deadly sins, right? Is that
not a lot of? Yeah, sure. Yeah, pride is not his issue. Being a fucking nut job psycho.
Not in this movie. No. Also, I just can't get over the visual when he goes up to Ender and is like yelling at him. He's literally yelling at his clavicle, and Ender's like, "What's up, dude? What's up? Squash you like a bug, bro."
I'm gonna put my drink on the top of your head.
It is so bizarre. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's wild.
So, does he immediately? Oh, okay. No, he doesn't. So we do the very first fight. Oh no, the girl shows him moves. So Valentine takes him in there, and not Valentine. What's her name? Petra takes him in there. and she's all like, she's in love with him instantly for unknowable reasons,
Yeah, because it
and
doesn't make any sense.
and she's like so soft,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and
She's a weak character.
she's a weak character. She's not a very good actress in this. The acting is not good. She feels very
Yeah.
puffy.
And she's the girl from that Western, right?
She was great in that Western.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I
So
agree.
so they make her like soft in like
Yep.
a really weird way. It's like I was watching that movies that made us, and we were watching the Aliens one.
Oh yeah.
And it's like every what's her name comes out there as Vasquez, and you're just like, holy fuck.
Yep.
This is a
Badass.
person you are not going to. Nobody fucks with her in that movie for
Nope.
even 1/4 of a second because
Yeah.
she establishes who she is. Petra's just like, this is not. No one would have followed her in an army.
No, for sure. And
No.
also, like, they make it seem like she's befriending him in that moment where
Oh,
she's
big
like,
time.
"Hey, I'll take you under my wing. I feel bad for you." It's all strategic in the like it should be all about strategy and making the team win. Theoretically.
If she'd have said, Bonesaw is an asshole.
Mhm.
If you're shit, we're shit. I'm gonna make you can't if you can't suck.
Exactly.
And it would have been a great
100%.
dynamic, and we'd have bought it because
Yep.
there's like one point where they're like palsing around,
Yep.
and you're
Yep.
like, the Harrison Ford character would have never let this happen because
Oh, God,
if he
yeah.
was a real boy, he would have been like, Battle School, go fuck yourself. I'm into this shit.
Right, like I don't care about anything right now. I've got a cute little lady that I'm flirting with. Like, forget this. Let's go get some zero gravity time, baby.
And he would have been loving it, and there's no explanation as to why he doesn't fall in love with her.
Yep, because it
And
doesn't make any sense.
You need, it doesn't make any sense. So we have the first fight, and then he's supposed to hang back, and then he does something, and they win. And
He
it was
does
great.
something
The fight was great.
ridiculous. It doesn't even make any sense, Dan. He just shoots everybody. I mean, like, what he does isn't
Well, he plays
remarkable.
dead.
He plays dead and then starts spinning and shooting everybody. Like suddenly he's the greatest shot. He's Wyatt Earp all of a sudden, or Billie Holiday, Doc Holliday, which everyone was really good at shooting. Suddenly he's that
Billie
guy.
Holiday.
Great.
Definitely Billie Holiday.
Definitely Billy. Yeah, he's Billy all the way. It just doesn't. It's not. He's not the best shot in the world. That's not his thing. He's a strategist. He's got to. He's got to learn to commit. It's all wrong.
More importantly, we've set up in the earlier training scene that he's a shit shot. We totally set up that he sucks. He's like, miss, sort of a hit.
And then she's and then all of a sudden he's just like the greatest shot in the world.
All of a sudden he's Billie Holiday. Singing the blues. You'll be singing the blues. So, Bonzo, I kill you. I wrote Petra love
that was
fight.
Really good.
Yeah. So Bonzo takes him there. He's like, do that again. Oh no, we already did that. Whatever. Who cares? Bonzo's angry because
he yells at him twice. He does.
Yeah. Bonzo's angry. He says, "I kill you" because they won. And he challenged my authority.
Yeah. Again, just a complete misunderstanding of the source material. It's fine. It's all good.
So then we do some more of the giant game stuff, and he sees the queen. Queen looks really good in that game.
There's a couple of things that I was like, if this movie was good, I think this would be really cool.
So then they formed the Dragon Army, which had never won a game, and then Ender's put in charge, and he picks the misfits of the
Why did he get put in charge?
Because they need him to be the leader. Need to teach him to be a leader.
Again, he doesn't earn it.
No.
It's just like this. We need you to lead a team. We need it to happen.
Good test scores, Tony.
Good test scores. He just doesn't ever do anything in this movie.
He did that thing where he shot everybody.
Which it doesn't make you a leader. If anything, I would argue that means he should be a soldier for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Because that has nothing to do with leading or having people follow you or strategy or winning a battle. It's just, hey, he's a really good shot. Everybody should want him on his team.
So Bonzo goes and meets him in the shower. Wait, is this after? No, okay. Then does he? Oh, does he beat Bonzo before he kills Bonzo? Is that the big fight?
I mean, those happen at the same
Yeah,
time. There's only one. Yeah.
yeah. So then we have the big. They're called to the battle room, and they find out that there's two sets of bad guys against them. And then he does like this thing where he like makes a man into a ball and then shoots Bean out there, and Bean's like pew 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 pew. And then he
I wish he
makes
did the special effects noises for the
then
movie.
he makes the human ball where everyone's frozen, which I remember from the book, where
Yep.
they intentionally shoot themselves so you can't shoot, and then they use them as human shields. And then he rockets up, and then he rockets down, and then he rockets left, and he rockets through, and he wins. It was great. I loved it.
It's a fine scene.
It's the high point of the movie.
I agree 100%. But my question is, why are there two armies? What's the
Why does he have to
significance
fight
of
two
that?
armies?
Yeah, what's
To
the
teach him a
significance of that?
lesson.
What's the lesson?
You'll never know how many armies you have to face. Because you'll never know how many enemies might be waiting behind the boulder.
Is that like I didn't understand the way the movie used this. And also it informs the end of the movie.
Because we only had enough special effects to do the battle room 2
Just one.
times.
I know,
That's
which is such a bummer because it's obviously an important part of the story. You can't fit everything. I get it. But it doesn't feel like it's teaching the right lessons to me, is all. And as someone who's I was just saying, as someone who knows the lessons, I'm having a hard time detaching what I know from the book from the movie. So I'm just does it make sense in the movie?
Does it make sense what happens?
The story. Yeah, as a progression of the story.
No, well, yeah, it does, because you have to give him like his big win to make him the leader. That's your big win to make him the leader. He's the leader now. But he did the greatest thing ever. He defeated 2 armies with 1 man, and him and Bean. Bean's only 2 feet tall, and Ender's 2 1/4 feet tall. They're babies, but they're beating grown men.
Are they babies? Because Ender is 9 feet tall. I'm pretty sure Butterfield is like a 6-footer.
So now we get the really sexy shower scene. Petra comes in there, she takes off her towel, and Ender's like, "No, I'm a leader! Your feminine wiles will not work on me!" Now, what really happens is Bonzo comes in there, and Ender kills him, because he doesn't want Bonzo ever attacking him again.
Yeah.
You're dead, Bonzo.
I mean, looking at it from the movie perspective, again.
Really what? You're what?
I don't understand what's happening here in the movie. Do you?
He killed a guy. What do you mean?
Sure.
I mean, I understand what they're. I mean, this is I say it again. The plot of this movie is that the military builds psychopaths to destroy the enemy. That's the point of the movie, Tony. And then he gets to the end, and he's like, he realizes that
so wrong.
He realizes he's a psychopath, and he should stop doing this shit. And that authority's bad, and the military's bad, and leaders are bad, and they're just going to make you into psychopaths. That is the plot of the movie, Tony. Like it or don't like it.
I don't like it.
So he says, I'm going home. And he goes home, and I want to save lives. What about his life? And we get this Valentine on the raft in the lake. And she says to him, which I thought was really interesting, "I think you're afraid."
Mm-hmm. It's because...
she's hyper manipulating him to go back and do this.
And she does.
She does in the book? Okay.
Yes, sort of. It's like they're really skimming over like motivations and character development. First of all, in the movie, Ender wants to see Valentine.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to go home and I want to see my sister. Yep. In the book, he does not want to see his sister. They have to convince. He goes home for 3 months because he quit the game, like he did in this for totally different reasons, as you can imagine. But he doesn't want to see her. They have to like force him to see her because he knows that seeing her is another manipulation. And he doesn't want to hate Valentine. Like, the whole thing is like, you're going to manipulate me. It's going to work. And I'm going to hate you for it. So I don't want to see you. Which is like a beautiful, like, oh, God.
So in other words, in the book, he's always sort of playing three-dimensional chess, even though he knows that they're going to get him. He knows he's done it.
He knows his weakness, and he can't stop it.
Yeah, and that's the way
How human is that? How beautifully human is that? This movie sucks.
So he goes back into space. He demands to see his emails. Give me my emails. But
I love that they, because it's 2013, that they had to add emails into this, by the way. That made me laugh, really. Because I get it. Like, you have to, like, make it seem like it's modern in some way.
In the book, it was like space mail.
They just call the internet is called the net, which is, which is great. Yeah, exactly. And they don't really talk about, there's no like email function. It's letters. They send letters, which I guess, looking at it from the future, is like, why would they send letters if they have the internet? But, it's hard to write future stuff, Dan.
Take it from somebody who writes future stuff. It's hard.
It's hard.
I invented Space Venmo in my latest story.
That's good. I'd love to hear more about this.
You will someday.
Okay, great.
So they go to the planet that's next to the aliens, because that's where they're going to get the aliens from. That's where
I'm going to get you.
And it's a war to prevent war. And the egg starts talking to him. And then Ben Kingsley's on his floor. Holy shit, Ben Kingsley's on my floor.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I like Ben Kingsley in this movie. He's the only person in this movie that I like.
The sort of sad thing about the whole thing is in the book, because I read a little bit of the synopsis of the book just to sort of refresh my memory. In the book, the whole idea is that this guy is the hero that defeated them, and then Ender's got to defeat the defeater. And that's the whole thing, is then they set up with all the fake battles, which are actually all real battles.
Correct.
They make Ender think that he's fighting against this guy.
Yep.
And it's great. It's great in the book. We diffuse, we throw all that out the window. I don't think we even mentioned that as a concept in the movie.
We don't.
It's just lost. It's just
lost,
kind of weak.
and that's why he's a psychopath in the end.
Yeah.
In the book, the whole point is, once again, like putting two armies against him, stacking the deck. When they go to this final battle, they're outnumbered like 100-1 or something. And he's like, you've made it impossible for me to win, Mazer. So if you're not going to play fair, I'm not going to play fair. And then he destroys an entire race of creatures trying to just show his teacher that he can beat him by cheating. It's heart-wrenching. It's crazy. This movie sucks. And Mazer, I don't even understand totally what he's doing in this movie other than acting circles around everybody else.
So he just sets up that how they beat them, and there's like alien nodes, like junior queens out there. If you shoot the junior queen, which never really comes into play.
Not at all.
Nope. And they watch a video, and we do something about global warming.
Wait, we did?
There was a thing about global warming. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. Really, really weird.
Oh, I'm bummed that I didn't pick up on that. I was probably too livid.
And then we find out that they have the big gun, who only Petra can use, because Petra's the only one that can push a button. It's like so weird.
Yep, essentially, yes.
And she's also the one that's like, give me 7 more seconds. I need to recharge.
Which I don't even like, what a weird thing to add that doesn't add anything to your movie other than like fake tension. They're just like, well, we can't let her fire right away because then they're gonna win. So
well, no, she fires once, but then she has to fire again.
Right. She needs 2 minutes for the laser beam to charge.
2 minutes. So like almost instantly we're in this final battle. I think we had like 1 or 2 little battles we sort of showed. We did one to sort of set it up.
Command School is essentially 30 seconds in this movie, which is fine. Yeah, like you got to condense something, I guess, but it feels kind of important.
Yes, and and then instantly we're like, tomorrow's your last day, and so you're like, okay, I guess we're gonna go kill the aliens tomorrow.
Which is weird to me because they like they call it a graduation battle or something. Like that's what they say. They're like, tomorrow's the
Yeah.
graduation battle. What does that mean, Dan? I don't even understand. So if you win, you graduate. If you lose, what happens? You just get kicked out of school then?
You
Like, I don't understand. It's not really a graduation battle. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I didn't understand the terminology they decided to use.
because then you're going to have to go and use this in the real world.
Yes, of
So,
course.
everybody yells, "He's not ready! Empathy, anticipation! This is suicide! Big battle! Fire now! Destroy the planet! Game over!" And there's a big battle, and Ender's like, he gets to have that point where he's all like, "Ignore the shuttles! Everyone, go around Petra's big giant dick gun because Petra's got the biggest dick gun of all the dick guns, and then form a super secret pointy thing at the front that opens." And we're kind of like, okay, it's weird.
I didn't find it interesting, the whole battle.
No.
Which is a bummer because when they first open up on that scene and they're in the battle arena and it shows the screen with all of the ships and it's like, it's a lot. And you're like, oh shit. Like visually, I was like, oh, this is the first time I've been like, uh-oh. And then they just kind of were like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll just do some weird spinny things and we're going to be fine. We're going to drill. We're going to drill with ships. I don't know. I didn't get it.
Well, it wasn't much to get because it's your classic case of, the ending of the Avengers movie. It's like, oh, the aliens are coming and there's 10 million of them, and how are you going to win? And then some random thing that has nothing to do with the other thing has to occur to make them win because
Exactly. Which is so weird. Well, I mean, I guess so. The whole point is that and then the two armies are related. They're the same tactical maneuver, but like not really, not in the movie. Sorry, in the book.
Oh, sure.
The whole point is like he goes back to that moment is like I can cheat to win if I do the same thing because I know it's going to work basically. But in the movie, they're two completely unrelated. So that's why I don't understand why you show the first one if you're not going to then connect it to the second one. I don't understand anything.
He doesn't cheat to win. He comes to a different conclusion, which is nothing matters except winning.
Because he's fucking crazy.
Because he's a psychopath. So at the end, they're like, "Oh, by the way, gotcha." And he's like, "What?
Gotcha."
And this is like the one interesting thing of the whole movie. One of the couple interesting things in the movie. Yep. He says, "This is not fair. You didn't let me figure it out."
Yep.
And I thought that was just like super. He's like, "You didn't even give me a chance, and I'm your dude," and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And, okay.
It's okay, but did it feel out of place to you in this movie? Because I didn't throughout the movie. That's not the feeling that I ever got from Ender.
Well, what you're saying is if they played the character of Ender how they could have played him through this, where he was the compassion did exist, and he wasn't just a psychopath. He was this super lateral thinker. Yeah, I mean, you could build this character, but it's going to be this soulless. He's going to be a fucking Data. He's going to be like Robo Man. It's going to be cool because it's going to be fucking weird. He's going to be fucking people up and just standing there. It's like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about you. I could snap my fingers. It's like, and his threat should have been like, dude, you don't understand. I'm just going to wake up one night and I'm going to come over there and I'm going to cut your throat. You're going to bleed out and I'm going to watch it in your eyes. And you know how much I'm going to care? I'm not going to care at all because you're nothing to me. It's me stepping on you is like stepping on a bug. You're just a piece of dust.
Stepping on an ant, you might say.
But they don't play him like that. You made probably the most relevant point is the movie was shot once he gets angry.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's not if he gets angry, then it has to be about him controlling his anger.
Yeah.
And it's never about controlling his anger.
Not even a little bit. Yeah. So
because they don't.
While I enjoy this moment of the film, I think it's just wasted. I don't think that it has the emotional impact that it should because everything before it is nonsense. That's all.
And he says the way we win matters.
Yep.
And this is why.
When did we learn that lesson?
I'm on Team Harrison Ford. I do not
Oh
believe
boy.
that.
I know. And see, this is why I think I
Save the
resonate with
universe, save Spock.
with
That's the
Enders
difference between us.
so much
Yeah.
because that is his thing, and that's why they have to trick him, because they need someone who thinks like that, but they need to manipulate him into doing the wrong thing. And it's
And
a
I wish
wonderful moment,
that's what
and
it was about.
because that's what it should be about, but they don't do that at all. It's never about that, but then they still say it, and that's what pisses me off, Dan Goodsell. At the end of the movie, they still try to wrap it up correctly, and it's like, fuck you, you idiots. That's what the movie should have been about, but you didn't do it. You can't then tell me that that's what it's about. Oh, you monsters.
So then he realizes the alien's out there, the alien egg is out there. So he like runs out there. I'm gonna get that alien baby. It's like,
I'm
man,
gonna get you.
could you be like a little bit covert? Just a little bit covert.
Somebody would follow him. At this point, he just like ended an entire species. He's the hero of the human race, and he's allowed to just run away into the woods. I don't understand what's happening right now.
It's super weird. You know, it's like, but we need to make this emotional. I'm running. I'm not taking air. No, here, take the air. Oh, give me a fucking break.
I actually have some questions on that scientifically,
Sure.
Dan.
Sure.
So, I mean, they just run outside in this alien world, and she's like, we need to bring air. So is there oxygen? They're just saying it's thinner, but not gone.
I guess Tony wasn't paying attention to the fucking movie because we planted that information in there. Right when he gets there. Yeah, we did that information right when he got there. They'd been terraforming the world for some amount of time, and the air was thin but survivable. Okay. And they point to the air things right at the beginning. If you ever go outside, you're going to need this special air thing.
Interesting. Okay.
And you're like, even Dan Goodsell sitting there going like, I guess they're going to have to go out into that air at some point. And that's the whole thing. A good movie.
I don't remember that at all, to be honest with you.
A good movie sets up all that shit and then gets you to forget about it until they need that desperately.
And then you're like, oh, that's right. Oh, he didn't need it desperately, though. Like, even in this moment, there was no reason for it.
He's got that magic acorn. You know, he's got those 3 magic acorns that turn people to stone. He's going to use those at the right. Well, we only used 2. We only showed 2 of them, and neither of them did anything important. But that's beside the point.
Don't worry about that one.
So it's more about his magic tricks. You know, giving Willow some credit, he did use the magic at the end, and I did not expect him to be using the magic at the end.
Yeah, amen. Willow.
Willow, better movie than Ender's Game.
That's a given. Everything's better than Ender's Game. This is the worst movie we've ever done.
And so he gets the egg, and then they're like, and then they gave me a magic ship so I could travel the universe however I wanted and do whatever I wanted. Yeah, no one's going to pay any attention to me again.
What?
Huh?
Yeah, what? I don't even understand. All right. So you have the greatest military leader, quote unquote, of humankind ever in the history of humankind, and you're just gonna let him just cruise? Just be like, yeah, we'll see you later, dude. We don't need you.
Because he's a little bitch.
He is kind of a little bitch in this movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. A little psychopath.
You're dying, your baby. I don't know why I wrote "You're dying, your baby."
Does he say those words in that order? Because that would be funny. I don't remember the conversation that he has with the queen, but like, I mean, that would be really funny if that's what he said.
Oh, the queen says, "I'm dying." Oh, you're dying, and then he's like, "Oh, that egg is your baby." That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, Dan. And let's get a little deep real quick. Nope, not over yet. Let's talk about this queen who is dying.
Moving on.
We are not done. Hold on.
Moving on. Next week on Hey Watching with Dan and Tony.
Hold on.
I told Shannon, I was like, we're going to be done with this one quick because I literally wrote 3.5 pages of notes. This movie has literally the most least notes of any movie we've ever done. Because
that's wild
there.
Because there's exactly what, and it's from such a deep, emotional, human text, and they just strip it away of all of its glory. Oh my God! Hold on, we got to talk about the Queen real quick because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Why?
Well, what do the queens do, Dan?
Make babies.
They control. Yeah, they make babies and they control.
They had the queen. The queen was in the book.
Yeah, but she does not survive.
Yeah, she was going to
If the
die.
queen is still alive, where are the rest of her babies? Because the whole
They killed
point.
them all, the whole planet. They killed everything on the planet.
But that's not the only planet there. I mean, it's confusing because I'm sure I'm blending the book and the movie. But if a queen is still alive, then we have not won, theoretically. Because in the book, when the queen dies, everyone else dies. That's the whole point. We killed the planet because that's where the queens were, so everyone else dies. If a queen is still alive, there should still be babies running around killing people, in my opinion.
Take that up with, where's this guy
I would
Card?
take up a lot with Mr. Card because he's not a great guy to begin with. Yeah, oh god. I mean, this movie, Dan, is
Not that
so
bad.
but it's I'm sure it's like a
I know.
sci-fi, just like a general. No, and that's general's not the word. What's
Major.
boring?
Sergeant.
No. As like a it doesn't matter. As a sci-fi movie, it's like, I guess, fine. You know what I mean?
As a
Like it's
typical hard sci-fi movie, it's fine. Um,
right.
the politics of military and mankind and all that, and building psychopaths, a little weird, but
Yeah, I mean, it
you
is
know,
weird. Yeah, it
it's
teaches a
weird.
weird lesson.
The lessons are
My
weird.
my problem is that that's like the opposite of what the book is.
Sure,
It's not just this cookie cutter like sci-fi nonsense.
sure.
It's insulting to the book to make it this just flat, boring, by the numbers star fighting movie.
Well, and there you go. They just did Foundation. They just made a Foundation. I think Apple TV or something
Oh, okay.
did
I
Foundation.
haven't seen it.
And I've read some stuff about it, and there's epic space battles and all this kind of shit in there, which is not in the Foundation books at
Nope.
all,
Nope. because
you got to give them something. Well, let me rephrase that. They think you got to give them something,
All right.
and
That's
that's the
fair.
whole point. Is it's like if they just said, "Well, here's the simulation," they just showed Ender like going boop 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 on the simulation thing, as opposed to a giant screen that shows exactly what you're seeing and everyone knows exactly what's happening.
Yeah. I just I think I'm okay with like adding these grand battles. I think but it's the motivations leading into them that matter. It's
Sure,
not the battle like the movie thinks that it's the battle itself that's important. But it's not.
it's
That's the
not at
least
all.
important part. If you want to give it to me and show me something exciting, great, you can do that. But I have to be invested in these characters for any of it to matter, which I am not.
I mean, if we'd have spent less time having what's his name talking about how he defeated them in that video, which we didn't need at all.
It
We
didn't
didn't
need it
we
even a
didn't
little
need that
bit.
at all. If he'd have walked in there and what's his name said, "You're here at or you're at flight school or whatever the fuck school, and I'm
Command
gonna
school.
command school. I'm gonna fuck you up. You're a little piece of shit. I'm gonna
Yeah,
take you down every." And then we saw Ender like do this have this one battle where he loses because he loses battles in the book.
of course.
If
Absolutely.
we had one where he like loses half his fleet and then he like walks out of there and he's like fucking Rackham comes in there and is like, "You piece of shit! I kicked the shit out of you. You're never gonna defeat me. Tomorrow I destroy the rest of." You'd have been like, "Man, that guy he's an
You're pretty
asshole."
you're pretty close to what happens in the books right now. Like it's obviously he doesn't use that language, Dan. Okay. So
Yeah,
let's tone it down. But
but
I
it's
mean,
like we could
yes.
add a truncated attack scene, which is going to be
Yeah.
cheaper, and we're going to have an
Yeah.
emotional scene where we see that this guy is manipulating the hell out of him,
And we
and
don't.
and the whole idea is what the military will do to control this guy, but the truth is what the military will go to win.
100%. And I know this bothers me, but I know that this is really hard. This would be really hard to incorporate into a 2-hour movie. Graf's character is totally wrong in the movie. He has this wonderful dichotomy where he deeply loves Ender, but also is very good at his job. And I understand that would be very difficult, but they made him just like a straight asshole in this movie. And that's just everything with the way that they did the characters, everything falls flat. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer. So here's what's going to happen, Dan. I am going to produce a
Shot for shot remake. No.
No. Oh God, no. A Netflix show or you know what? HBO Max. I think that's where my favorite is right now. Either that or Peacock, but Peacock couldn't do it. This needs to be long form.
Yeah.
It does. It does. It needs to be a slow burn character development, like early Game of Thrones type of character development before, seasons 1 and 2 probably. I don't know. It just I need to feel it. I need to feel something through Ender's Game. It's just such an emotional book that it just
it's never gonna
sucks.
happen.
Oh, it's gonna happen, Dan. I'm gonna write it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write it. I can't write. I'm a bad writer. Someone needs to help me. If you're out there and you're a good writer, hit me up.
So that's Ender's Game. Tony's childhood broken, destroyed.
You know what's interesting?
Weirdo.
I mean, worse than weird. Like, there's a lot of names we could throw at him. I want to say two things real quickly about what you just said. Destroying my childhood.
Your childhood.
In general, I feel like people say that. It's like, oh, you're ruining my childhood, like with Ninja Turtles, right? Oh, you're ruining my childhood. Generally, you're not. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you have an emotional connection to it, obviously. But I mean, it's just another thing. This really does feel like an assault on my childhood because it's so personal. Like the connection that and I use we as like fans of the series, the connection we feel with Ender is so personal and so like part of I know it sounds weird. It's so part of who we are and who we like try to become as a child that it does feel a little bit like a personal attack.
So you're discounting the pain that fans have felt from the Roy Turtles movies as not being the proper pain because it's not your pain.
But I do feel that pain. I love Ninja Turtles, and that movie is an abomination.
But your terrible. Pain is more real than their pain.
Good stuff. Yes, exactly.
The only pain that matters is Tony's Ender's pain.
There's not that deep connection, Dan, in Turtles. Turtles is great, and I loved it.
You're talking about your own stupid connection. Some other guy may have grown up on those pizza loving turtles and they go home and cry at night.
I grew up with the Turtles, and I resonate with the Turtles, sure, but it's not in the same way. It doesn't get you through something. This book
Oh, shut up, Tony! You're saying your experience is the only experience that matters.
It's not just mine. I'm saying of all fans of the book, not just mine, Dan. And I'm not saying that
I like the book and I didn't feel any pain. I could care less.
You weren't a kid at the time, Dan. You should have been a kid who was isolated and alone. And, that's the only thing that got you through the day was knowing that it could get better. How about that?
I was a kid and I didn't go through, like I was a nerd, but I had friends and, whatever.
I don't know, Dan. I saw that picture you posted. You were a good looking guy. I mean, you still are. You still look great. But in that picture, I was like,
"What picture?"
You posted a picture on Facebook not too long ago, and it was you when
me?
You were younger. You were doing like a puppet show. I thought.
Oh, I was a weird looking guy. I
don't think you were. I was like, oh, he's cute. I get it.
Shut up, Tony.
I'm just saying, if you were younger, I'd date you. All right.
Okay. So the conclusion of everything is only Tony's pain matters because of Ender's Game. Not just
Tony. Ender's Game fans.
all the stupid Ender's Games fans feel their pain, and HBO Max make them a show that redeems their Ender for them. And
I honestly don't think you can do it.
Proper being. Of course you can do it. You can do anything.
I don't know.
They did Dune.
And they did. You're right. I mean, you're right about that. Dune is beautiful.
Dune's a pain in the ass book. I mean, that book's not an easy book to do, and they did a good job with it. And they lit palm trees on fire, and they talked about contemporary-ish stuff in a proper way in relation to how the book did not talk about that kind of stuff. So shut up.
The thing that they did the worst for Dune, is that they did not make the sequel.
Oh, it has been at the same time. Sure.
Yes, it has been greenlit, but I don't know who scared them. I don't know who hurt them in the past, Dan, but they were reticent to greenlight a sequel before the first one came out, just in case it didn't do well. And I think it's going to be tough with that. It's going to be like a 3-year gap.
But I
think that's a mistake.
In the book, it's a 3-year gap. He has kids in the book.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. No, I think it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did
I'm
not.
back on board.
Yeah. No, I mean the next movie the characters should be 3 years older. They should not. It
I mean,
didn't
but
happen.
they could just tell me they're 3 years older, Dan. I just want to see
Oh,
it now.
see, but the
That's
truth
the
is, I
problem.
want it now. It's about me and my fandom.
Of course, it's about me. Everything in my life is about my own bubble. That's the way humans are.
Okay, let's put an end to Ender. Ha ha.
Dark. That's dark.
So now we talk about something in the week that we liked. We just started watching The Cleaner on BritBox. The Cleaner is Greg Davies, who does Taskmaster, which is my favorite thing in the world. It's his new comedy show, and he's a crime scene person that cleans up crime scenes. And then each one's sort of takes place close to real time, over the course of a couple hours, where he's at this one house and sort of interacts with someone. The first one is, what's her name with the ivory leg from Lone Ranger? What's her name?
The Bellatrix Lestrange.
Yes, it's her.
Why can't I think of her name?
Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, good job, Dan.
So it's her and him. Fucking great. She's so amazing. So if you got BritBox on your Amazon Prime, check out The Cleaner.
What is BritBox? Is it exactly what it sounds like?
It's British. Yeah, it's British. It's a bunch of British.
Is that
so it's a lot of BBC shows.
Thing that I have to pay for?
Yeah, like $6 or something.
Oh, a month?
A month? I can't buy the third of that. Can't buy a third of a Funko Pop.
Oh, yes, I can. Bring it on, Dan. I'll buy 4 of them.
So Tony, tell us about like something you saw in the trash that amused you because you didn't see.
You're gonna get mad at me on what I say today. I would like to. I'm gonna say 2 things. One of them is a repeat, and the other one has nothing to do with anything you like. First of all, I would like to say read Ender's book. I did indeed read it again this week because I was like, I need vindication. It is beautiful. It's wonderful. Read it. Give it a shot. There's a couple of... What's interesting as reading it again now, knowing what you know about Card.
Sure.
There are moments where you're like, oh...
You see
I see
his creepy political shit come in.
Yeah, sure. Which is very interesting. But if look past that, the story's great. He's garbage. Story's great. And then the other thing is The Big Leap just keeps getting better. Dan.
Oh, it's so good, so good.
I am so obsessed with this show. It might be my favorite show of the decade, of like the last 10 years. I can't think of a time that I've had more fun watching TV than when I watch The Big Leap.
Someone's going to have to explain to me how this is on network TV.
I know.
Not that it's dark or weird. It's like everything good that network TV can be.
Yep. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
It's beautiful. It's wonderful. If you've been holding off, just make the leap. Points.
Wow.
It's phenomenal. I love it. I wish I didn't have to wait a week to see it every time. It's great.
Now we're gonna set up the next movie we're watching. We're gonna go. I think this movie's 2012. It's in our range.
It's in that little
it's in our
bracketed
area.
Time era. Jesus.
I forgot to write it down, but I think it's in our age range. And we're going back to somebody. I think a couple people from the Lone Ranger are in this movie.
Oh no, that's not a good start.
And I think this might be the first Tim Burton movie we've ever done, right? We haven't done a Tim Burton movie yet, have we?
No, I don't believe we have. What did
we're going to go into the shadows, into the dark shadows?
Oh Jesus! Oh God!
Is Helena Bonham Carter in this? I think she is.
I feel like she has to be.
I'm pretty sure she is.
I don't remember. But Mr. Depp sure is.
Mr. Depp is
Johnny D.
Tried to watch this movie once, didn't see it in the theaters, did not make it through it. Not even close. I mentioned it to my wife. I said to the wife, she's like, I tried it. I didn't make it.
I don't know anyone that's made it all the way through, Dan. This is one of the only movies I can ever remember turning off. I'm sure I've done it before, but I'm very big on if you start something, you got to finish it. but I was watching it with my family. My mom was there, who grew up watching this. She loved
Oh, she loves
Dark
it.
Shadows. Just
Sure.
loved it. And she was so excited for this movie. She made it like 15 minutes and she walked out of the room. And like the rest of us were like, well, let's just keep going and see what we turned it off. Unbelievable. I'm so excited to like have to sit through it.
I know. It's like this one I'm actually excited about because I have no idea
Yeah.
what my
Happens?
issue was or what.
Yep.
I just
No, I
remember
don't
there's like this
remember.
weird town and there's weird rich people and he comes and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
things and you're just like, what the fuck is happening?
What is Yeah, I don't. This is gonna be interesting week for sure.
Yeah, so
I'm excited.
continuing with our adaptations.
Ah, yes.
So yeah, so it's gonna be fun.
Beautiful.
But you know, Ender's Game, not bad.
I could not be more wrong. Could not be. If there was any other title to the movie, I'm sure I'd be fine with it. But you can't take Ender's Game, the seminal classic,
My childhood.
and just shit all over it.
My childhood. So
It's not even just my childhood. It's also I've read it so many times in my life. It's a continual. It's like my North Star, and they've just ruined it.
So
Can we quickly talk about how terrible Harrison Ford is in this movie?
I don't think he cares. I think he just shows up and is like, yeah, give me the goddamn script. Give me my page. He's like, Harrison, did you read the script? No, whatever.
No,
Just
no,
give me
it's fine.
the pages. Okay.
He's phoning it in so hard. It's lovely to see. Good for him. Get that paycheck, bro.
Gotta phone it in sometimes. So if you like what you see and hear, leave us a comment, leave us a subscription, leave us a ding, because we need those dings.
We need a lot of dings, man. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, this has been Hate Watching with Dan and Tony, and maybe we'll see you next time.
I apologize for making this one so personal. Everyone have a good week. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye.